Hi, in this video, I'm going to show you how to configure your Medisoft revenue management for the Medisoft EDI eMedix Clearinghouse if you're coming over from Change Healthcare. First step is to go to Activities and open up your revenue management here at the bottom of the list. The next step is to click on the Process button once revenue management opens. And you're going to go to Change Practice. Even though we're not changing practices, this is just where the Configure button is located. When you click on Change Practice, it gives you this list of accounts that you have in your revenue management. You're going to select the practice that you currently have open. So you can see here at the top of the revenue management, top left corner, it shows what account you're in, and here as well. You're going to highlight it and hit the Configure button. That's going to open up the configuration wizard. You're going to click Next. Log in using your Medisoft login and Medisoft password. Hit OK. And it's going to give you a list of the available integrated clearinghouses or connections. You're going to select the second one for eMedix. If you look at the very end of the line, this is the one that is for claims and MS for Medisoft. So select the second one. You'll see the one above it says eligibility. If you have that service, you have to configure these separately. So you'll go through the same exact steps again to do eligibility. So we're going to do claims first and hit next. When you get to this screen that says existing receivers, if you've received this screen, if you're on a newer version, you're not going to see this screen, but if you're on in version 27 or older, you're going to see this screen that says existing receivers. And you don't need to do anything on this screen, just click next. And you're going to scroll to the very bottom and locate the one that says EMCL for eMedix claims. When you're configuring for eligibility, same thing, you're going to scroll to the bottom and select the one that says EMEV for eligibility. So those are the two eMedix receivers that you'll need to select on the list. If you're on a newer version, 28, you will not see these two screens. The program is going to automatically select the EMCL for you. And so all you have to do from here is just click the next button and proceed. And when you get to this screen, if you are transmitting claims with a group / organization NPI number, a type 2 NPI number, you're going to put a check mark in the box here. If you're not sure if you have a type 1 or type 2 NPI, you can go to the NPI, just Google NPI registry, and you can do a search for your NPI, it'll tell you. So if that group or type 2 organization NPI goes on your claims anywhere, you need to put a check mark in this box for group practice, even if it's one solo physician, if it's a type 2 NPI. Next, you're going to put in the billing contact person's name. So I'm just going to say biller contact. You'll want to put in their first and last name. Then you're going to select from the drop-down type, telephone. There are other types here. Make sure to select telephone. They don't accept the other types. And for the number field, you're going to put your contact phone number. Don't put a secondary contact. They don't use that. It's not needed. Just skip that part altogether, and do not put a check mark in test mode. They do not require testing. Your account is live once you get those IDs, login and passwords. So the information on this right-hand side, you're going to need to locate your secure email you receive from us that contains your eMedix account ID, which it's called the TP ID. It stands for Trading Partner Identification. So look for that. It's going to be a 3-character ID number. You're going to need that for this say. So I'm just going to say sometimes it's alphanumeric, sometimes most of them are going to be all alpha characters. So I'm going to use ABC. Once you plug that in there, you're going to copy and paste that in the third field down and the very bottom field. And you're going to leave the taxonomy field empty. It no longer pulls from this field. It actually pulls from the provider ID and practice ID rules. So if you need help adding that on your claims, you should already have it in there if you're converting from Change Healthcare to eMedix, if you had to send it on your claims. So the The user ID, this is going to be in the secure email that we sent you. It's going to be the one labeled EDI Web Service Login. And that one is usually about 6 to 7 characters long. So I'm just going to say it's something like this. And then you're also going to receive a password that is also labeled EDI Web Service Password. Okay. Once you plug those in there, you're going to click Next. Now, if you have more than one practice, you're going to need to create custom communication sessions if there's more than one practice. And I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. So after you do this first one, I'll show you how you can add more. So you're going to get this drop down and you want to make a communication session because each of your practices are going to have a separate login and password here. And so in order to pull those separately, we need a separate session. So for this first time, you're going to leave it as the EMCL that it defaults to, and you're going to click Next. On this next screen where it says configuring receivers, you'll see this little bar here, the status bar. It doesn't do anything until you click Next. So click Next again. Then you'll see the status bar moving. On this next screen to edit receivers, this is the receiver that we just added. So on this line, we're going to scroll over and go to this where it says, let me expand that a little bit, claim number format. Right now it says claim number. What this field is how your claims are, what your claims are going to send on them as far as how they identify each claim. We recommend selecting the one that says chart XX claim number. So you're going to want to select the one that says chart number XX claim number because then it'll put the chart number with an XX to separate it and the claim number on your claim so that when you receive reports back from the clearinghouse, this will help you easily identify the claim and or the patient that that claim is for. And the next thing you want to do, we're going to scroll over a little bit underneath the column that says send drug loop. If you are sending any J codes, any NDC codes, billing for any drug codes on your claims, you're going to want to make sure you put a check mark in that box to send the drug loop. If you don't, you can leave that empty. The next field over, entity type. If you are only billing claims with one individual / rendering / type 1 NPI number. There's no group number, there's no organization NPI type 2. You're going to want to switch this to say individual person. If you do have a group number type 2 organization NPI, you're going to select 2 here, and it's going to say non-person. The vendor ID column, you're going to leave that empty. So after you select the entity type, whether it's person or non-person, your next step is to verify that you're using the same iGuide that you did before with Change Healthcare. So to do that, you're going to go scroll to the left, find your Change Healthcare receiver, whether it's some of you might have one that looks like this, Change or CHCL, or it even might even say Relay or 5010. But find the Change Healthcare receiver that you were actively using to transmit your claims before it went down. Scroll to the far right. And in the transaction column, you're going to click in that column. It'll just say claims. Sometimes some of you might say claims, status, but click in this transaction column in this box, and it's going to give you a drop down. You're going to hover over the iGuide field at the very top. This is what tells revenue management how to build your claim file. So you want to make sure you're using the same one that you were using before if it was a custom iGuide. So this is the standard iGuide. This one's not a custom iGuide. If yours was custom, you might see the wording a little bit different, or if you are doing UB04 claims, or if you're doing DME claims or ambulance claims, your iGuide is going to be worded a little different. This is just a standard for regular ANSI 5010 claims, professional claims. So Once you hover over, or you can even click on it to see it as well, you can maximize this screen and see the one that you had selected here. So once you confirm that, you want to make sure that you pick the same one for your eMedix receiver. If yours says standard, then you're okay. You don't need to go and make any changes to your eMedix receiver. You want to scroll over, make sure you highlight your eMedix receiver again, the EMCL. Scroll back over to the right, click on that same column under transaction where it says claims and status. And in the first column, you want to make sure that it's the same receiver. If it's not, you weren't using the same standard one that's in here now that defaults to standard, if you're doing, like I said, UBO4 or DME or ambulance, any other type of claims, or if you had any custom settings done for your claims before, you'll want to click here and select the same iGuide from the drop-down list. So you'll see in here, there's several different ones, like your UBO4, ambulance, and your DME one. So select whichever one you were using before, click the X, and then you're going to click next. And then you're going to click finish. And if you signed up for the eligibility verification service, you're going to want to do those exact same steps. The only difference is this time when you select configure and go through the wizard, you're going to select the top line that says eligibility. And everything will be exactly the same as we did in the first step. Once you're done with that, you're going to select, you're going to select the select button and it takes you right back to your revenue management. Okay, so from here, you're going to go configure and you're going to go to preferences. This step is going to be if you are receiving electronic ERAs from the clearinghouse and you're not getting them all on paper in the mail, or going to the insurance company's website to pull those ERAs or EOBs. If you plan to get those electronically through the clearinghouse, which I highly recommend so that you can post them electronically and save many hours on data entry time, you're going to come to configure and preferences to switch over your codes from your Change Healthcare receiver to the new receiver that we just created. So once revenue management loads, or the preference screen loads, you're going to go to the Assign Posting Codes tab. Under this Assign Posting Codes tab, you're going to find your Change Healthcare receiver, whatever receiver code you were using before. Some of yours might say CHCL, some of them might say CHC, or chain, or like this, CHANG. So locate whatever receiver you were using before. What you're going to do is you're going to right click and copy column. And you're going to locate your EMCL receiver, the new one we just created, and you're going to right click and paste column. So it applies those posting codes in there. That way, when you start receiving your ERAs from eMedix, they will open and use your same posting codes that you had before, like your insurance adjustments, whenever it's a CO 45 or a CO 59. So you'll just paste those in there and then hit save. If you were using the statement posting codes, you'll want to do the same thing. Go to preferences. And this time you're going to go to your assigned statement codes and do the same thing and right click copy column, right click and paste in your EMCL receiver from your Change Healthcare receiver and hit save. The next thing you want to do is go to configure and insurance and assign edits. Typically, when you make a new receiver, when you go to this assign edit screen, you'll see that all the boxes got checked again with a check mark. Or if you've added any new insurances since the last time you configured a receiver, mine still recognizes my from before, but typically it would look like this. And so what you're going to do is click over here on the far left side of the screen and hit Control A on your keyboard to highlight all. And you're going to unselect the first 5 columns. The only column you want to have all the boxes checked off for is common edits. And then what you're going to do is go to the Medicare edits column and find any of your Medicare. There's a filter you can apply if your list is pretty long. Instead of scrolling up and down looking for Medicare, you can put your cursor up here in the type column header, and it gives you this little funnel icon. If you click on that, it's a filter you can apply, and then you can select Medicare, hit close, and then it'll only display all of your insurances you have set up as type Medicare. And then you're going to want to put a check mark under the Medicare edits box only for your Medicare insurances. Only for your state Medicare plans and your railroad Medicare. Don't put a check mark in the box for any of the Advantage plans that are not the regular Medicare plans. So if it has an NBI number or the railroad Medicare policy ID, put a check mark. If it's any other, don't select it. Once you do that, you can remove the filter either by putting your cursor back in that filter and hitting all, or whenever you have that filter on in the bottom left corner of your screen, let's turn it back on. On the bottom left corner, this is how you can see that you have applied a filter on your screen. It says type equal Medicare. Just hit the X to remove it, and then you can see your full list again. And you're going to hit save and then close out of this screen. The last screen that you need to update is going to be your insurance list. We're going to swap those receivers out. So we're going to change all of your insurance list from your old Change Healthcare receiver to your new EMCL receiver for the Medisoft EDI eMedix. So we're going to go to Configure, Insurance, and Insurance List. Your insurance list will load here. Most of you have a much longer insurance list than I do. So what you're going to do is scroll all the way to the very end of the list. Now be very careful whatever changes you make on this screen. Once you click save, it updates it in your insurance list table in Medisoft. So if I wipe out a whole bunch of payer IDs and hit save, you will not see those payer IDs in your Medisoft insurance list either. It's the same data table. So be very careful with the changes you make here. When you scroll down to the last column, you're going to look for this column. If you put your, some of these columns are very short, you can make them a little bit wider, drag it over a little bit. But this last column is your primary EDI receiver. And what we're going to do is swap out the payer IDs, or the receiver IDs. So if you put your cursor in that column header again there, you're going to get that little filter icon. It's going to give you a drop down to apply a filter. I'm going to apply the filter to all of my Change Healthcare receivers and hit close. And then I'm going to hit Control A on my keyboard. So it highlights all of them in blue. And this is when you have to be careful, because when you make a change to one line, it's going to make it to all of them. So now that they're highlighted in blue, I'm going to click in one of these boxes here, and I'm going to type in EMCL in all caps for my receiver and hit enter. And then it disappears because it just swapped them out from Change Healthcare to EMCL. So now if we go back, you can see that's the only receiver in my list. So if I remove the filter in the bottom left corner, hit the X, here's my insurance list again, and those have all been swapped out and switched over to EMCL. We're going to do the same thing for the secondary EDI receiver. So you want to highlight and select all the ones you were using for Change Healthcare. Control A to highlight all. And type in EMCL. And we're going to remove that filter in the bottom left corner, hit the X here. And now those are all swapped out. And right now is a great opportunity, a great time for you to add or switch over insurances that you were sending on paper you can look on the eMedix payer list. We have a video for that too that shows you how to search the payer list for payer IDs and where to plug those in Medisoft. This is now a good opportunity for you to go in and do that, to send, quit sending your claims on paper if they can go electronic. There's over 8,000 insurances on the payer list. So most of the ones you need, I guarantee, will be on that payer list. So what you can do is scroll to the right and look for under the billing method. You can put a filter here, any of them that you have marked as paper. So it hides all the ones you were already doing electronic. And you'll want to look here and look these insurance companies up, like Humana. That can definitely go electronic. If it can, you can actually make that change here and swipe it over, switch it over to electronic. You have to make sure, though, if you do switch that over, where did it go? Here, that you scroll over to the end here, and you're going to plug in the payer ID that you need. So there's the second to last column. It says primary claims payer ID. You'll want to plug in the payer ID for Humana or whatever your insurance company is. You want to look on that on the payer list. There's like I said, there's a video we have out for that as well, and plug that in for primary and secondary. And now that one can go over electronic as well. And so once you're done making your changes here to your insurance list, you're going to click save. And again, just make sure those are the changes you want. Once you click save, it updates your list in Medisoft, and you'd have to either come back in here or go to your insurance list in Medisoft to switch those over. So we'll hit save, and we're going to close out. And that is it as far as the configuration. Everything else, all the other settings that you already had in place for Change Healthcare, are going to be the same as for eMedix. And even the way that you transmit your claims, that process is going to be the exact same as well. It is fully integrated just like it was for Change Healthcare. So when you come here to check your claims, you're going to go to your EMCL receiver instead of your Change receiver. Same steps to check claims. And again, you notice in that drop down for check claims, it gave an option for EMCL in there. So once those claims are done being scrubbed, here as well, when you go to send the claims, when you hit send claims, you're going to select EMCL from your list instead of your old Change Healthcare receiver. And that's going to grab all of the green flag claims and build the claim file with those. Once the claim file is done being built, you just click the send button just like you did before with Change Healthcare, and it transmits your claims. There is a difference in the reports that come back from Change Healthcare. From eMedix. There's not as many reports that come back. I know with Change Healthcare, you receive several reports back for each batch of claims that you had sent out. They have minimized that in eMedix. So you're going to get a claim acknowledgement 999 report. And then you're also going to get the 277 reports, one from the Clearinghouse that shows which claims were accepted or rejected at the Clearinghouse level once the Clearinghouse scrubbed them. And then you're going to get a 277 report from each insurance company that was included in that batch of claims, showing if they accepted or acknowledged the claim in their system. And also all of your ERAs are going to download. I'm just going to get rid of that and close these screens. All of your ERAs are going to download into the revenue management report screen, just like they did before. All of your Clearinghouse reports also still download into this screen as well. So if you run into anything, please contact our support department. We're more than happy to help you through this transition. We know it's a difficult transition, to make it. It was unexpected. So please reach out to us if you need help. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for watching our video. If you want more videos like this, be sure to subscribe and also do us a favor and click that like button. Thanks again, and see you on the next one.